Hello everybody, how's it going? My name is Jimmy. Today I present to you the luxurious Homooi Wisdom Choice table and chair set from Amazon. This is a small little desk that we wanted to have for quarantine to eat off of, as well as increase our workspace. So I wanted to show you how I put it together. And if I make any mistakes along the way, I assure you it will be very well documented for you to avoid those same mistakes. So here I am amongst all the parts that you get in the box. I know what you're thinking. Jimmy, you're so meticulous when you unpack your stuff. You must be a very patient person. This can cause some lost parts to happen, and well, what's done is done. So let's go ahead and straighten things out so I can make sure I have all my parts. Okay, so I took everything out of its plastic and laid it out in a semi-neat formation. This way, when I go through the instructions here, which is bound to be confusing, I'm sure of it, this is the part that frustrates most people. So when you take it out, be very careful. I like to place it on a white piece of paper where it can't roll around all that well. This is a piece of spare styrofoam, and I'm going to open them on here, and that way I can see the black parts. I might miss them on the wood floor. This is the first bag, which is A. I'm going to keep them grouped together since they're all the same part. Be very careful with those. B goes next. These are slightly different lengths. They look similar though, don't they? I also don't know what additional tools I may need. We'll see. That's why I'm kind of doing this video. I want to see what else is needed. Or is it all included in the box? I don't know. We have some what looks to be rubber protectors for the floor. And F, I'm going to keep in the bag. These are small little washers. And the first step looks like I have to line up these L pieces here. Okay, I think I do have 4 of them. So it looks like we're putting together the table first. Yes, that big circle disc there, that's the top. And lay out the disc, the tabletop, upside down. Actually, screw into each other first, not to the tabletop. My mistake. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Okay, so 1, and then we use, so we're actually going to screw the L shapes into each other by using A, B, C screws. They look smaller in the instructions, so pay attention to the actual letters. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so I'm using an Allen key that came with this kit here, and trying to screw it in while it's this way puts some pressure on the screws. So I wouldn't do it that way. I'm going to set it straight up as I hand tightened it a little bit, and I'm going to screw it in this way. Yeah, it's going a little easier now, and I'm just using the long part first. Hopefully you guys can see that I'm not screwing this way. I'm using this long part to screw it in. I can get more turns this way, and you don't want to screw them in too tight right now. Screw them in with some slack, just a little bit, and do one at a time. Okay, see how they're kind of wobbly still? That's okay, just be careful here. Follow the picture and be patient. I'm going to take 2 more of the C screws, which are longer than they seem in the picture. Maybe you can have someone help you. That would be great. Although I think it's doable by yourself. And we're going to screw this in. Okay, not bad. The next step appears to be flipping the top over and then putting the L shapes to that. But you notice here we use the D screws, which are the longest screws I believe, with the small washers and those end caps which protect the floor. So if I'm going to do that, I think I'm going to put it in there first and then tighten up all the screws I just put in there. If you notice, I'm working on a mat here because I don't want to scratch the tabletop I just got. So I'm going to move this assembly off. I'm going to tighten a little bit more, but I'm not going to cinch it too tight right now. After everything's settled into the table, then I will tighten for the last time. Okay, so if you can see here, I have these big holes, a lot of space. I'm going to use D screws. You only get 4 of them anyway, and you use the washers as well. Right there. It can be a little tricky to find the hole here. You can use your finger on the other side and poke it through right here. Now I'm not going to cinch it all the way. I'm just going to hand turn it just a little bit. I'm going to put another washer right there and do the same thing. Okay, and it lines up. Just hand tighten a little bit. Prepare another screw in its washer. It helps to put your finger on the other side of this beam. Once you find it, it goes through pretty easily. Line up the hole here and hand tighten. Now that everything's in place, we can now tighten all the screws. Even the ones we put in before, tighten those as well right now. Now don't over tighten any one at the same time. Keep track of what you do first and just go kind of in opposite order if you can. Now, why is it important to use this and not your automatic tools? Because your automatic tools can sometimes leave you without the feel. This isn't exactly the sturdiest material you want to use a drill with. Just be careful, use your fingers, and be patient. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and install these things. So you can also adjust these so that your table is level. You can screw in as much or as little as you want. And these also pivot, which is kind of cool. Maybe you don't really need these. I'm putting them on because they're included, so that's up to you. So that was the table. Here is the chair in exploded view. I may not go into too much detail with this. Just follow the directions and I'm going to see if there's any missing parts as I go. It looks like we use certain screws for different parts. Now it looks like to me all the parts are the same when it comes to the chairs, as in one's not left, one's not right. So hopefully this works out okay. These are the O shapes. We're going to put an N bar between them. I'm going to use the C screw to hold these. That's the next longest piece here. Just got it started with my hand, and now I'm going to screw it in with my Allen key. Notice as I'm turning it, it does turn this, so just be aware that it looks like the hole should be facing up and down, right? Facing up and down this way. So try to align those the best you can as you tighten. Now we're going to screw this to the back, which has an arch to it. And I have two of those right here. So these brackets here go towards the top, and it's going to bend outwards. So I'm going to attach it like this. I might have to put this down like that. And line it up first, and then just double check what screws I'm using. It looks like I'm using the smallest A screws for the first two holes up top. Okay, so that's these tiny screws. Okay, I think I'm doing this right. You notice as you screw these in, there's a little bit of slack here. The holes are not exact. As in they cut the holes a little bigger than they needed to give it some room for error in manufacturing, which can be good or bad. But this product got really good reviews, so okay, I just hand tightened everything and it's loosely secure right now. From the back, I'm going to put C screws, these bigger screws here, through the back. Try to line it up with your other fingers, and then it should line up. It's a little tight here, something's not working. Okay, maybe using an Allen key will help. Yeah, an Allen key definitely helps. This screw here, C, is different than this screw up here. This one you use B on, right here. So this is B, this is C. Okay? I'm gonna put B, the second screw, in here. And because everything is lightly put together, I can see where the hole is going to line up with the screw. So I'm having to bend a little bit with my hand just to make sure things line up right. This is what it looks like. I'm going to now re-tighten everything. Remember, tighten as you go around. Don't tighten any one screw too much. Don't forget about these inside screws here. If you want a little bit more torque, turn your screw, your Allen key this way and turn this way. As you do that, make sure this is still squared off here. Okay, so I'm going to start the other chair frame now, and hopefully you guys can follow along. It looks like we use the A screws for the backrest and the B screws for the seat. After I tighten one here, I'm going to tighten the other side on a diagonal if I can. It just helps to keep things evenly tightened, I guess you could say. Okay, now I'm going to do the other diagonal. I can start down here and go up here now. I don't want to over tighten anything, but things do have to be snug. Okay, I'm trying not to over tighten. My tendency is to do too much sometimes because I want it to be very sturdy. But if things come a little loose later, you can tighten as you go. So that looks pretty good. Let's do the other chair now. I don't think it matters if it goes this way or this way, but I'm going to just snap into place. Take the remaining 4A screws and place them back here. They're kind of hard to hand tighten, so I'm going to get them started with an Allen wrench here. They're not really aligning well, so you might want to use your other hand to prop it up. It's kind of getting hard for me to see, so I'm going to put it down on my knee here, and that way I can see better. For the next step here, we're going to use the remaining 8 screws. I don't have any extra parts left over, so make sure you check your parts first. If you have any issues, contact Amazon or wherever the manufacturer's contact information is and contact them first. This goes for your tabletop as well if there is a defect in it, whatever it may be, okay? So here's the pad. Does it go any which way? So it looks like there is a certain way that it goes on. You just have to make sure the holes align. And if you do that and you're patient, you'll find the right orientation, okay? Don't just make your own holes here. There is a right way to do this. Okay, so I lightly screwed them with my fingers. Yet again, that is a theme throughout this whole video. You don't want to over tighten anything. First, tighten them all loosely and then follow through with the Allen wrench. I like to go in a diagonal pattern if I can. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Maybe I'm over tightening it, so just move on to the other chair at this point. I just don't want you guys to strip out the sockets here, because at this point that would really stink, seeing as I'm almost done. So I don't have any extra parts. Even the washers are all used. The only thing I have left now is the Allen key, which would also be a pain if I lost. I'm sure I have extra ones, but just be really careful as you're assembling things to not rush. Things can get lost underneath a couch, for example. That's happened. I'm not saying you won't have all the parts every time, but in this case, you have the exact amount of parts. So just take your time and have fun with it. Do you guys want to see the finished product all together? Let's do that. So here is the finished chair. This is like black. It's not espresso or anything. It is black, and this is like a light brown. I think this goes with any decor actually. And the table itself looks to be black. As you can see, there is a slight grain to it. I hope this video helps you guys. Let me give you some more shots of what it looks like.